Alright, let's get to it because it is time for another one of the classic Daima reviews. And to be honest, I wanted to make this video a few days ago before episode 5 dropped and all, but as I mentioned in my last community post, which I'll leave a blip to right about now, I came down with a sore throat a few days ago, which prevented me from making this whole video on time. So I am sorry about that, but as you can probably tell, I am feeling a lot better now, thankfully. So I figured, you know what, for the sake of being a completionist, and also for the sake of the Daima review series on this channel, it's only right that I do the episode 4 review regardless. So with that in mind, this video specifically will cover my review for Daima episode 4, and shortly after I will put out another video to cover my review for Daima episode 5, so stay tuned for that of course. But with episode 4 being out though, I mean, of course we have a lot of things to talk about. Every episode up to this point, we keep getting a fair amount of lore, I would say, and this time it was no different. But before we can talk about any more details, you already know what I am about to say. If you have not seen the 4th episode of Daima at this point and you want to avoid spoilers, pause the video, check out the episode of course please, and then come on back. So that is just my warning for you guys right there. Let's go ahead and continue with the review. Now, just as what happened with the last episode, we kick off this one where the prior one ended off. So if you guys remember, Glorio, Goku, and the Supreme Kai, our new trio for the story, were about to get ready to leave for the Demon King of the Third World when we figure out that Glorio's plane was basically stolen by some bar people from the other night. So that was definitely awkward of course, and understandably, you know, everyone is just left in shock. But still, it really doesn't detract from what the mission is. So the trio basically start walking in the hopes of either acquiring a vehicle to kind of hasten their travels, or basically to eventually find their way to the Demon King, who, by the way, we've learned is named King Kadan. So we don't know who the king looks like exactly, but we do know their name, so that is kind of cool right there. But I will say, overall, to be quite frank with you guys, you know, the beginning 1/3 of the episode, give or take, I would say, is very lax, and really it's not exactly something where you have to pay that much attention to. But one thing that is slightly worth pointing out in my opinion is that we do see a random beast come out to attack Goku and the others, and within the fight itself, we do get another opportunity to see Glorio in action. And really, this was another fight for Glorio where he ended rather swiftly, but he did move differently this time, you know, fighting almost like a Z fighter, basically flying through the air and swiftly ending the battle in 2 physical decisive blows rather than using his pistol, so that was really cool right there. And also within this fight, you know, it's kind of thrown out there, but Goku's still struggling to handle his movements in this new environment with the Demon Realm, so obviously that is another challenge for Goku to still have to deal with. But honestly, I do have to wonder at this point, I mean, come on now. How much longer is it gonna take for Goku to lock in and get accustomed to this new environment? Because obviously, no, everyone in the audience and everyone in the story is banking on Goku to get the job done, defeat Goma and Degasu and all those baddies, and save Dende and bring everyone back to normal. So how long is it gonna take for Goku to lock in and get that done? Because obviously, you know, Vegeta fans, I know you're out there, but we all know Vegeta is not gonna get it done. I just hate to say it, but it is what it is.
See, I didn't know I came here to be disrespected.
Regardless though, I will say I do appreciate these moments, you know, seeing Glorio in action. It's always nice to see, of course, because the animation quality for the show is fantastic, but also it lets us see more of Glorio's actual skill set, so that's cool right there as well. And I mean, at this point, the only one slacking as far as I can see is Supreme Kai, and in all fairness to him, I highly doubt most of us would even care if he got a few licks in, but still, I mean, I wouldn't mind watching him take out a baddie or two, throw some hands, you know, but still, back to Glorio though. There is another thing about these sequences that I will say, which is that, yes, while I do appreciate them, I hope this doesn't become the trend for him every episode. Yes, they're fun now and then, but it's like when you hit max rank and then you go back to beat the level 1 fodder, eventually, it just becomes dull. Plus, these battles don't really give us a clear understanding of where Glorio stands compared to someone like Goku or to Vegeta, so I'd much rather see something like that be clarified instead. Anyways though, the travel still continues, and during it, we learn that Glorio, despite seemingly being able to control his ki to fly and whatnot, he's not actually aware of what ki is, so sensing enemies who cannot be physically seen is something that he is not capable of just quite yet, so maybe we'll see a training arc down the line, but who knows. Ultimately though, that still doesn't stop them from reaching a shop along the way to get some food, and you know, as one might expect, you know, the food at the Demon Realm is definitely different from what we're accustomed to seeing, even though Goku, just being the guy, you know, he eats everything happy as can be. I mean, I swear, Goku is the guy you want at your party to gas up your cooking. I'm just gonna say it for what it is. But meanwhile, you know, a couple of other important things are still being handled. For one, Glorio is trying to negotiate with the shopkeep, you know, for a means of quicker travel, where we learn he cannot get a plane, but instead will have to accept what is known as a sky seat, so more on that later. And Goku and Shin in the meantime look through the shop itself, discovering multiple forms of bugs which serve as medicinal items, kind of like what you would see in your typical adventure video game, right? But a few few of these items really do stick out and they absolutely have to be mentioned in this review, right? So one, of course, is a revive bug, which, as the name would suggest, it's meant to basically act like the Demon Realm's version of a senzu bean, right? Restoring the stamina of the one who eats them. The other bug, though, and this really is the one that is probably the most important by a mile, is the join bug, which basically allows two individuals to fuse together and become even more powerful. Now, okay, let me make the fattest pit stop right here, because first off, fusion and Daima were two things I was not expecting to really be associated with each other. Beyond that though, I mean, just on a general kind of base of comparison, it really does seem as though most of the items and concepts that we've seen before translate between the realms with things like sensus and fusion, so I really have to wonder at this point, how far do these similarities go between the realms, and at what point will the differences make themselves known? Because this is very interesting right here, and of course, obviously when it comes to the elephant in the room, holy we now have a third method for fusion. Obviously, the first two we already know with the Potara fusion for Vegeta, of course, and the fusion dance for Gotenks and Gogeta, but I am incredibly curious, as are many others, about what could this fusion look like, especially because we know Vegeta will eventually show up in the Demon Realm, so it's only a matter of time for him to be here, right? So, the question is, would this be a completely different fusion compared to Gogeta or Vegeta? I mean, what could happen? It's just all so crazy, and the worst part about this is they're probably going to leave this on the back shelf for us to wonder for like 5 or 10 more episodes before coming back to it, but still, this is just so insane. This is so hype. But back to the episode though, because my head is just spinning, the trio now head for the Sky Seed, which I just mentioned earlier, and Glorio helps to explain what a Sky Seed is, but basically to put it in terms that we would understand, it's basically just a one-off janky ass rocket, like literally to the point that when they use it, they're going very fast at a very long distance, but then they have to jump off at the last minute because the thing is about to crash land. So yeah, definitely janky. And after taking the Sky Seed, we see it will take about, half a day to really finish their travel. So what is it time for? You guessed it, more lore. But to be honest, it's pretty much the same lore, just retold from another perspective, because this time the gang talk about the Demon Realm Dragon Balls. Now, most of the information about the Demon Realm Dragon Balls to begin with, it's the same information as before that we've already seen, but there are a few newer kind of pieces of information as well. For one, we learn of the official location for the Third World's Dragon Balls, so that's really important right there. And also, we see in classic Goku fashion, Goku is just excited and really kind of anxious to take on a Tamagami and see what they're really made of, which really sparks an interesting idea amongst the group to, go on and gather all 3 of the Dragon Balls from the Demon Realm to rescue Dende and then return to Earth and use the Earth's Dragon Balls to return everyone back to normal. And really, this is not a bad idea in my opinion. I mean, obviously we still don't know how powerful the Tamagamis or Goma are, but no matter how you slice it really, a fight will have to happen. So I mean, it's going to have to happen one way or another, and Glorio points out the fact that Dende could still be killed before they reach him, making things much more problematic. So this is an idea that's kind of floating out there for the gang, and ultimately, the gang does come to agree with this new plan, even though Supreme Kai is probably the most hesitant of the group. And also, what we really see is something that I want to key on, which is that Glorio actually smiles for the first time here after everyone agrees with the decision. Now, it's not really in the middle of the screen, and it's done really quick, so it can be easy to miss, but it's right there, and I would say that it's done in this type of style for one of 2 reasons. One being that they probably either want to really show that Glorio is slowly succumbing to what I'm calling the Goku Force, trademark pending, where basically he's starting to loosen up and enjoy their company, or, and this is the big alternative, they're doing this to show that he has an ulterior hidden motive up his sleeve, and this could be a part of his plan. But regardless, I mean, it's still, just a smile. There's not really much more to read into it. So, I'll hold off and just kind of assume that Glorio is just starting to become more chill with the others, but I got my eye on you, Glorio. But in any case, we eventually head to the next town over so that the gang can rest up, right? When we come up to this massive line being stopped by the military police for the Demon Realm, who are known as the Gendarmerie, I believe is how you say their group name. So the military police here, they serve the Supreme Demon King, who at this point in time is King Goma. And I mean, if we needed to see the whole kind of oppression and the caste system as kind of things in work here in the Demon Realm, it's right here in front of us, I would say, in my opinion, because we're watching these guys, they're taking gold coins from the poor, and if the poor cannot pay up those gold coins, then they're physically draining their life force as compensation, which is just insanity. And on top of that, they also have these magic collars on them to prevent them from escaping. So it's brutal, it's tyrannical, it's insane, and naturally, our boy Goku, he's watching this, is like, I won't watch this anymore, and he's getting crazy. and he's about to step in, and that was some terrible voice acting for me, by the way, but just ignore that, right? But Goku's about to step in when suddenly we get someone else to come in to try to save the day and try to challenge the police, but within like 15 seconds really, we know that this new person, she is just not like that necessarily. I mean, honestly, the way she moves and the way she acts, she's almost like a Demon Realm Bulma, if you will, where she's trying to fight the police with various weapons and technology, and still, she's not capable of defeating all of them, so Goku still has to do his job, he has to step in and save the day real quick, and honestly, Goku just locks in. When he steps onto the battlefield, he is going crazy, and so far, the choreography and the animation for the whole series, they've just been fantastic, and the thing is, every time I see these moments, yes, I want bigger stakes kind of fights, but I also really like just watching these ones too, and honestly, I would probably say that I get kind of pissed because when these types of fights end, I just want to see more. And I mean, let me know if I'm the only one like this, but I mean, the fight is just going so crazy, and eventually though, Goku and the others, they, escape the city after what transpired, and after everything that happened, Goku is now a fugitive of the law, so yeah, this is not really great for us, but it is what it is. The others are still okay somehow, even though they helped Goku escape, but Goku is still labeled as a fugitive, so that kind of sucks right there. But all of a sudden, they're met by the girl that we saw earlier, try to fight the police and fail, and the girl reveals herself, and through the trailers and other information, we know her name is, I believe you say it's like Pansy, but still, we don't actually know who she is at the time in terms of the episode, and she doesn't really say anything, so we're left with her just kind of staring at us as the episode comes to an end. Now, I said it at the beginning, but I'll say it here too as well. The first part of the episode is really kind of chill, and I don't want to say that it is lackluster, because I think that's kind of harsh, but at the same time, I don't think it will be unfair to venture into that sort of description because, compared to the rest of the episode, the first part is just kind of dull in comparison. But still, I really do enjoy this episode. I mean, the action was there, so it is something that I do love to see. We're introduced to another important character, so the pieces are moving together, and every episode up to this point, it really does feel like we're making forward progress. None of the episodes so far feel like they're filler, so that is a massive plus for me. However, I did promise last review to try and be a bit more critical on my scorings, and I will say, this episode, while it had its moments, I mean, the whole Goku fight versus the police was fire. I think it was the best fight of the whole series so far. There were other moments though that I was kind of looking and just waiting to see what else was going to happen, and if anything, it feels almost as though we're getting set up for possibly a really important episode with episode 5 or maybe episode 6, so we'll have to wait and see. Either way though, today I am only focused on this episode, and for this episode, I'm going to go ahead and give it a score of 8 out of 10. I really like it, but there are flaws, and to be fair, not every episode should be a 9 or 10 out of 10, so I think 8 out of 10 is more than fair, and of course, now we gotta look at the series average, so if we go ahead and bring that on over, our series average for last episode was 9.7 for Daima. Now it is down to 9.25, but still, I mean, I think it's safe to say that a majority of people who are watching the show are enjoying it very much. A lot of people I hear from always sing high praises so far, and I think it's definitely a testament to the work Daima has put in. They've really made sure so far to give it some proper care as it rightfully deserves, and I'm glad they did it that way, and hopefully they will keep it going. With all that said though, that's going to be it for our review for Daima Episode 4. If you guys enjoyed it, definitely drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel, of course, comment down below also how did you like Episode 4 for Dragon Ball Daima, and feel free to check out some of the other vids on the channel as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.